Once you have helped Adela with her cyberblock problem on her computer, make sure you talk to her about Rezidente, and then also talk to Patricia about Rezidente.
Are you here for coffee?
Have you heard of the Rezidente in Prague?
And the crown jewels, as well as King Leopold's royal alchemist.
Adela told me.
Then ask Oskar about
Miss
Rezidente.
Drew. More questions?
Have you heard of the Rezidente in Prague?
You may have noticed this artifact before, but now is a good time for you to try solving it.
That is a priceless artifact, don't forget.
Notice at the top that you can switch the sun back and forth and move this little dial all the way around it. That's the first part of the puzzle. There's something in the exhibit here to help you learn about this. Move over here and look at the book. Notice Kepler's 3 laws right here. Now you can hit the R button and scroll all the way down to read Kepler's 3 laws where it's most important. But notice though, in the artistry here, once you zoom in with the scrolly wheel, you'll notice that some of the words are bolded. First, a circle, then an ellipse. So to solve it, return to the artifact.
That is a priceless artifact, don't forget.
Click on the top and take this button and go all the way around in a circle clockwise. Drag it all the way around to the starting point. Then click on the sun to move it outwards. Then grab the dot and try to move it in the ellipse shape all the way around and back to its starting point.
Whoa, Kepler's law in action.
Now you will see that you've got some different symbols showing through the windows of this glass cylinder. We can move them by rotating the dials up here. Notice the decorations on the side here. That is very important. This symbol
I think I need more information to crack this one.
is your next clue. Let's go back to where we found the symbol originally. Over in Vladena's jewelry shop on the wall is a crystal plaque. Right here is that matching symbol. It's very difficult to read this because of the glare and because it's cut glass. So if we just hit the R button, here are the poem's clues. Search for my mark to unriddle the box, which is the artifact that we are messing around with. Order the symbols, then brilliance unlocks. We have to do this in order. When it says, look for my symbol, it refers to Rudolph, the letter R, because in this book here, Rudolph is the one who commissioned the glass made by Caspar Lehmann. Caspar Lehmann's signature is the CH with the crown above it. We don't know what the H stands for, but it is his historically accurate marker. Thanks to Her Interactive for pointing this out. So these last 4 lines are the clues to the images. We're going to look at the first one, the jeweled craft of the Father Cain. In the museum here, in the display to the left, you can see that on the right, it'll mention the scepter and the royal apple. If you look closely, it'll say that the Bohemian royal apple, also known as the royal orb, is gilded with a Latin scripture and scenes from the book of Genesis, a depiction of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Biblical parents of Cain and Abel embellishes the lower hemisphere, a scene that parallels Prague Castle's courtyard's Golden Gate on St. Vitus's Cathedral exterior, which you can see out here. Over here in the cathedral, you can look up close and see the mural of Adam and Eve. The second line in the poem, follow the path of the creature Iosis along Golden Lane. If you were in the cafe and picked up the alchemy book from this bookshelf here, you can read a little bit more about that in here. If we scroll in, you can see that stage 4 is about Iosis. On this table, it points out that the common symbol for it is an Ouroboros serpent. And if you're out towards Old Town, if you look up at the West House over here, you'll find that R with the Ouroboros serpent. Notice the symbols around the R. For the third line, the ruler who bestowed the honor of knights refers to Rudolph II, with a tiny clue being on this plaque in the museum. But what was his mark? If you paid close enough attention to Radek's puppet show, you may recall that the puppet who plays Rudolph II had a crown on his head with a distinct letter R above it. Go back to the Marionette Theater and look for that doll. It can be found behind the stage here. Move the doll around until you find the R under his feet. There is a coat of arms. Then the last part of the poem, then the winding stars find whose omen strikes at midnight. There's a clue to this in the cafe here. If you go over to the corner, there's a book about the history, legends, and lore of Prague. The clue here in the book is very faint. It's to inform you that the astronomical clock keeps track of the time, date, seasons, and the state of the stars. And down below, further in the paragraph, it mentions the curse that if the clock stops, the skeleton will release his peril on everyone. And a boy is supposed to be able to run across the clock square before the stroke of midnight. And that's the omen that the poem is alluding to. You can figure this out without even looking at this book by simply finding the astronomical clock and the R clue up on its wall next to the skeleton. So the first symbol for Adam would be this royal apple. The second being the Ouroboros snake symbol. The third was the coat of arms. And last was the skeleton, the clacker. Here we go. Frustratingly, nothing seems to happen until you push the symbol.
This one has a mark on it.
Now, you can't take these with you right now with Oskar being here, so you are going to need to find another time of the day when he's not around and you can take these.